must hear our voices. The world must hear our songs. The world must hear the truth as we keep marching on. We never can rest silent beneath the rocket's roar. We must sing our songs of freedom for now and evermore.
Welcome to Voices of Change, a project of Community Shares. Community Shares raises money and awareness for Tennessee social change organizations. On this show, we seek to inform you about social change issues in our community. I'm your host, Shelley Wascom, and I'm really excited to have today's guests here, Crystal Gorley and Mark Brown II from the Knox County Incarceration Collective. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So I always like to start with this. What is the Knox County Incarceration Collective?
Well, the Knox County Incarceration Collective is a grassroots organization that is basically set up to establish a voice for people who don't have a voice, people who have been wronged, or people who feel like there needs to be change done to the social industrial complex, which is a part of the Knox County system. Mm-hmm. So that's essentially what we do. The short and simple of it is we give a voice to people who do not have a voice.
And you're a fairly new organization, right?
Yeah.
Did you just start? It's like a few months old, or?
Yeah, I think we're officially probably maybe like 3 or 4 months old.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be ripe for people learning about you and enjoying it. So, well, what issues? I mean, when you're talking about incarceration issues, there's a lot of issues. What are the issues that y'all are currently working on?
So right now, the KCIC, we are dealing with the video visitation issues. There's a implementation for the video kiosk on a permanent basis. In-person visitation has been taken out for inmates, and we have put forth some very strong efforts these past couple of weeks, if not months, towards our video visitation issues that are affecting the Knox County Detention Center and also all the other centers that are located in the Knox County area, even out towards Maloneyville.
Can you explain for folks if they're not, I mean, some people may have been reading about it in the paper, but if folks aren't aware, what does that mean, the video visitation? So
essentially what that is it is a screen now that you are given in order to view your loved ones who are incarcerated. In-person visitation has been taken out, and the primary and the only source for visitation right now is through the video kiosk. Unfortunately, this is highly problematic. Many individuals that we've interviewed, many reviews that we have read and seen and heard, many individuals were saying that the kiosk was freezing up, pixelizing images more times than they should have. In addition, inmates who may suffer certain type of disabilities or abilities such as hearing impaired, speech impaired, when the screen pixelizes or freezes or you're not able to quite hear, it's very difficult for those inmates who are sign language bound. Yes, so it makes it very hard for inmates to receive that social connection to the ones that they want to essentially see the most, because those are the ones that they love, and they're being taken away and given another option that is forced.
Right. And everyone, I mean, every study I've ever seen says that if you really want to, keeping a connection to people's family is the surest way to keep people from ending up back in jail. I mean, keeping a connection with their family and their loved ones. Can you tell me now, the kiosk? At one time I thought that there was a question of whether this might even be over the internet. Is it that people come to the, like, if I'm the family member, I come to the jail and get on a kiosk? Is that how it works?
Yes. There are two ways to access the video visitation. One way is for the family members to come down to the actual detention center. From there, the kiosk is provided for them. And it seems like a great idea, except for the fact that there's no option. There's no other option. This is the only one that you are forced to use. In addition, you're not able to hear that well when you go down to the detention center. There's no privacy, absolutely no privacy whatsoever. You're not able to have an intimate, engaging conversation with the one that you traveled so far to see. The second option that is available right now is accessing it from your home. And a few of the issues that come along with that is you have to have high-speed internet. You must have a computer or a laptop with a microphone infused and camera infused hardware, excuse me. And in addition to that, you must have a credit card or a debit card that is in good standing in order to pay for the time to spend with your loved one over the internet. And another issue with the cost is that it is $5.99 for 30 minutes. Inmates are only given an hour a week. Therefore, you're only able to spend an hour a week over, possibly faulty connection with someone while having to pay that fee in addition to that. And not to mention that most individuals who suffer the effects of incarceration and the loved ones tend to be on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale. Therefore, it's very difficult for them to make those payments. And if you say, well, you can't make the payments, you can come down. So I travel all the way to come down to the detention center just to not be able to hear the person that I really can't see, because the images is offset, so you can't look directly into their eyes, which is very, very it's highly encouraged.
Right. That is. I noticed that in Anderson County, they went to it was at the jail, but it was a visit. It was a video visitation, and it was the same problem. Was that for them to see me, they had to turn their head.
Yeah.
And then for me to see them, I had to turn my head, and that meant that we really what I was really talking to was like the side of somebody's head.
Yes.
And so that was the only way we could talk. If we turned, they really couldn't. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't make it. It's crazy. I kept thinking, who did this? Who put this together? Not anybody who knows what they're doing, I guess.
Right.
But it's also the question of whether you care. And can you say just briefly why would they say this is a good idea? I mean, what is the benefit?
Well, we've actually dealt with a few people, and they said the benefit was that they're understaffed. So, and it says they told us that it takes a lot of time and a lot of manpower to move people into these actually in-person visitation booths. So that was another thing. Another thing they also said was that it may possibly lower the visit of illicit substance coming into the actual prison itself. And those were the few things they said, but we all know that those are, more or less excuses on doing this, because at the end of the day, Knox County does turn a profit from this.
Oh, that makes sense. It's also, I have visited people at both Maloneyville and downtown, and there doesn't appear to be any way to pass anything, I will say, first of all.
Absolutely.
And secondly, I have never seen a less efficient system. I kept thinking anyone. I mean, I actually thought of volunteering to say, could I help with this? Because a system where you have to write everything down on 3x5 cards in a time when we have computers makes no sense at all.
Yes.
And it did take forever. And a lot of people, I mean, it made me wonder if they were doing it on purpose to take forever. Because, I mean, I couldn't think of anyone who could come up with a worse system that they tried. So.
Right, yes.
And why is this, well, tell me first, let's talk about this first. Why is this issue so imperative right now? Why did y'all get started now?
Well, the reason why we got started is because it's a humanitarian issue. These are people. This is not, inmate X-43B. This is a living, breathing person who has hopes, has dreams, has aspirations, who somewhere along the line made a mistake. And to treat them like chattel, to make a profit off of their suffering and misery and the dehumanization of that person is not right. It goes against the very moral compass of the Constitution that we hold in this great country of America. So to say that we can take away the visitation rights, we can take away these civil liberties that were infallible, which we thought they were, and to take them away is wrong. And that's why we're so passionate about this, because at the end of the day, if I ended up behind there, or if I ended up behind bars, or if Crystal ended up behind bars, I know we will all want to see our loved ones. We will all want to be treated fairly, even if we have made a mistake. And it may be a horrible mistake that we made, but we're still humans and still deserve to be treated with that respect as a human.
One time when I was waiting to visit somebody, a woman said to me, she said, my son did something wrong. he did. And he's here, and she said, and I don't even object to that, but I didn't do anything wrong. And I feel like I am being penalized and treated like dirt. And all I'm trying to do is visit my son, who we all acknowledge did something wrong. And it really did hit me. I mean, that, you know, this is a person who's really trying to maintain a connection and feels like she's being thwarted and treated really badly at every turn.
Yeah.
What is coming up for y'all? Do you have any, I mean, or how would people get involved even?
So if you would like to get involved with the Knox County Incarceration Collective, please go on our Facebook. The Knox County Incarceration Collective is the name of the page. And we will be posting our next social event, which should be taking place roughly around the end of this month, beginning of February. And it is more so going to be an introduction to the community as to who we are, what we strive to do, how we organize, how we collectivize, and how we strive to give voices to individuals who have suffered detrimental effects due to, you know, poor socialization. And, you know, we really believe that, you know, as Mark has said before, that these are people, you know, these are people with families. And even though the families have done nothing wrong, they too essentially suffer, and that is not right. And so we also meet on Sundays, every Sunday at 802 Sevier Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37920, from 2 o'clock p.m. roughly to around 4 to discuss ideas. And everyone is encouraged, anyone who has suffered any type of, you know, maltreatment within the system here in Knox County, also at, you know, Maloneyville Road, anyone who has loved ones who have been incarcerated and has dealt with those effects. And we welcome everyone to come for either to be the support system for individuals or to help grow the nuclei of the collective, which is essentially those who lived experiences.
And if they didn't remember that, can they find that on your Facebook page? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes. That information will definitely be posted up there relatively soon, if not
Good.
already.
And then that way they can, you know, if a person wants to learn more, and they can get in touch with you through the Facebook page. So that is a good way to do it. That's great. And you know, I was at a something event for students one time, and somebody from the public defender's office was there, and he was asking people. He said, "What do you think? You know, what's the most important value or something?" And he was talking about justice. And he said, then he asked people. He said, "Think about the worst thing you ever did." And then he said, "Now tell me, do you want justice?" And it was a very helpful thing. I mean, he also asked people to raise their hand if they wanted to share it, which is another interesting thing. But he said, no, probably what you want is compassion. You know, you want grace. And he said, I mean, I think that's an important thing for us to remember, that all of us have done things we're not proud of. Sometimes it gets put out for the whole community to see, and the question then is, what is our response, but how we treat people.
Exactly.
And in this case, visitation does not seem like it's a huge thing to ask for. And it seems like we could do it in a way that was humane. And I'll be the first to admit that the prior system was not good. But that does not mean that you go to a worse system.
Right.
So, well, I, you know, wish you luck. I mean, I think it's great work that you're doing. Hopefully we'll have you on again to talk about this issue some more. I would encourage people to go to the Facebook page, learn what all you're doing, and figure out what is the way that you individually can, you know, can join in and help with this. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the world must hear our voices. The world must hear our songs. The world must hear the truth as we keep marching on. We never can rest silent beneath the rocket's roar.